7年ほど前、私は高校時代に2年間日本語の授業を受けていました。N3 レベルまであと少しでしたが、リスニングで1点足りず不合格でした。残念。My biggest mistake was treating learning Japanese as just a test to pass, and this is not a sustainable way at all to learn the language. I have long since forgotten a lot of what I've learned back then. 言語は筋肉のようなものなので、使わないと失われてしまいます。Hello people, I'm Gene and I love learning languages. I speak Bahasa Indonesia, English, Chinese, Japanese, German, and now Korean. Well, at least I'm learning them. But this video is about learning Japanese and how to learn it in a fun, consistent, and integrated way without having to really study. So you don't make the same mistakes I did. If you're completely new to learning Japanese, then I suggest you take the tips I share in this video and keep them for after you've learned the basics of the language, like how to read hiragana and katakana and maybe some basic grammar. If you've already started learning Japanese and you want to turn it into a fun habit, or like me, you've learned it at some point and forgot most of what you learned and want to relearn it without having to hit the books again, then these tips are for you. But before diving into details, there are two things that you have to remember. The first being, why are you learning Japanese? Is it to study in Japan, which means you need really good grammar, for academics, a good knowledge of kanji, and maybe some field-specific terms? Or is it just to have some daily conversations in Japanese, which means you need more speaking practice and more conversational words? Or is it to watch anime without subs and read manga spoilers? Each goal has different learning methods so that you can achieve them most effectively. For example, for me, my personal goal is just to converse in Japanese, like daily Japanese, read some signs when I travel to Japan, so know some kanji. So I don't need perfect grammar, and daily conversational words or vocab are most important to me. Number 2 is finding happiness in your learning journey. Learning has to be fun and integrated in your daily life so that you can build a habit and do it consistently. So here are some ways of making it fun and integrated. Number 1, if you like Japanese music, then this tip is definitely for you. You can learn from the lyrics. I'll explain this while showing you what I would do with one of my favorite Japanese songs, Reason by Yuzu, which was an OST for Hunter x Hunter. I'm gonna write this with pen and paper, but you can feel free to do so with a tablet. So I would just first of all just copy the lyrics. The first sentence has a lot of hiragana, iru yo, and then there's a kanji, soba ni. In Japanese and kanji, use a different color. Then I would write down the romaji of the kanjis that I don't know. So now I know how to read it. Iru yo, soba ni, ichiban shikaku. Okay, what is soba ni? Look it up. And okay, soba ni means by your side. Now I have the meanings of the words that are new to me. And the final step is looking up the real translations, because the thing with songs is they're not like word for word literally translated, and there are a lot of imageries in songs, right? But it's also good to know what each words mean. Okay, iru yo, I'm here. Soba ni, by your side. Ichiban shikaku, closest. So I'm here by your side, closest. And then I look up the English translations online and it says I'm right here by your side, I'm the closest I can be. Oh, okay, so now I know what each of the words mean and I know how to read it. So I would do this for the whole song. I would read the lyrics, like just reading it. Last step is I would play the song and just read the Japanese lyrics instead of the romaji. So lyrics are not really a good way to learn grammar because, they're not full sentences, they're missing a lot of words, but it is a good way to practice writing, reading, pronunciation, and also get new vocab. So speaking of new vocab, on to tip number 2, which is learning new vocab and reviewing them. It's just as important to review words you've learned because otherwise you'd forget them all. Like me. A scientifically proven way to retain new words and put them in your long-term memory is through spaced repetition. So this is where when you learn new words, you review them frequently, and once you've got to know them, you review them less frequently. When I was taking my Japanese lessons, I would make my own flashcards, like with kanji or new vocab on one side and then the romaji and the meaning on the other side, and I would flip through them, and that's how I would learn for like unit tests. The problem is, after I passed that unit test, I just forget them because I focus on the new unit, for the new test. That makes my learning pretty ineffective. Because ultimately, they're not in my long-term memory, just my short-term memory. But rather than doing everything manually, making flashcards, reminding yourself to review them, you can use an app. It's called Mochi Learn Kanji, which is an app that can help you memorize 1,000 plus kanji and vocab in 1 month with their unique golden time feature, which implements the spaced repetition method we talked about earlier. So based on your own personal learning history, Mochi will calculate and remind you to revise new words and kanji at golden time, which is the time when your brain can memorize the best. Let me show you. Mochi mochi! First of all, look at how cute that interface is. But more than the design, they have over 6,000 vocab words and kanji from the N5 to N2 level for JLPT exams, as well as specialized vocab courses such as IT, services, and nursing. And each lesson is bite-sized and topic-based, so like 10 to 15 words each. So you don't feel overwhelmed that you have to learn everything at once, but you can take it one step at a time. So let's try out a lesson. Let's do N5 kanji and vocab. And it's downloaded. Hajimemashou! Okay, so the first word.
これ
Kore. And there's also like the slow version of the word.
これ
Kore. Flip the flashcard, it means this one. Okay, next. So now you review the word, and which one is this one? Kore. We just learned that.
本
Hon. Book. Book. Hon. Then if it's a kanji word, then you have to write down the hiragana of it. Hon. And there's also an example sentence. これは私の本です. And you can check for the translation. This is my book.
自動車
Jidosha. 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 この自動車はいくらですか? Which means, how much is that car? Okay. Hey, so now I have learned 15 new words. Now we can review previous words that I've learned, and my notebook has 153 words. There are 5 levels of memorization. So level 1 are words that I just learned. I can just open. There you go. So we have kasa, we have tsukue, we have toke, we have jidosha, like all the things we just learned. And then level 2 are words that I kind of know but still get wrong sometimes. Up to level 5 are words that I've really mastered. And since it's a mobile app, you have no excuse to be like, I don't have time to review new vocab, I didn't bring my flashcards. It's on your phone. You can do it on the go, while waiting in line, while taking the bus or the train, or even when you're sitting on the toilet. And 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes for you to get new vocab in your brain. And Mochi will send you notifications for when you need to review. So you don't even have to remind yourself, just accept the cute notification on your phone. You can try out Mochi Mochi for yourself by downloading it on the App Store or Google Play. It's free. And since Mochi Mochi is the sponsor for this video, Mochi Mochi, arigatou gozaimasu. And now on to tip number 3, which is talking to others who speak Japanese. And this can be verbally, like speaking, or through texting. You'd be surprised by how much texting helps. What I would suggest to get the most out of texting is first just write the sentence that you want to say, how you think it should be said. Don't get any help. It doesn't matter if you're not sure about the grammar or if you're missing some vocab, just write it to the best of your ability. After you wrote the sentence, you can check with an online translator, just putting in the English and then checking the Japanese. But don't just copy the finished translation and send it to your friend. Instead, you should compare what you wrote and what the translation said and start fixing your sentence. So add in the missing words, or if there's a difficult word you learned, just like you can actually click and see like other alternatives and then use the word that you know, or fix your grammar. The goal is so that you understand the whole sentence that you've corrected and you can retype it no problem without having to check the translator. So this way you learn how to self-correct yourself and also like practice forming sentences, because that's normally one of the hardest things about learning a language. Additionally, you can read the sentence out loud and then you can send it to your friend. Yes, this is a very time-consuming way of texting, but the goal is to learn the language and not to reply your friend quickly. If you need to reply quickly, then do whatever you want. But if your goal is to practice the language, then this is a very effective method, because in texting, you're also telling stories about your day. It's also conversational, and it will tremendously help conversations also in real life when you're speaking. And tip number 4 is, if your friends are not available, you can talk to yourself. Like, say the words out loud, verbally talk to yourself about your day, or write a diary. If you're writing a journal of like what you did that day, like just 3 or 4 sentences, do it how you would text your friend. So write what you think is correct first and then check with the translator, compare the sentences, fix yourself, and then learn new vocab. And when you're speaking to yourself, telling yourself about your own day, then you should just speak without caring about the grammar. And if you're missing some vocab, you can look it up and then say the sentence. So this is to practice forming sentences and actively speaking, because I think the biggest challenge of passively learning Japanese, for example, through a lot of media, like you watch a lot of anime or Japanese series, so you hear the words a lot, you understand a lot of things, but it's hard for you to speak and form sentences. This is good practice. And the final tip, number 5, is consistency is key. So after learning new vocab through songs or talking to yourself or friends, the final thing is to accept that learning a language is a long-term process. It needs to be a continuous learning process and not just to pass a test. That's why it's so important that it's fun and integrated to your daily life. And setting small goals will really help you stay consistent. For example, if you like the song lyrics method I mentioned earlier, then you can target yourself to learn 1 song per week. Or you can also commit to texting your friends 3 lines in Japanese per day, every day. Another example, you can set a goal of 3 lessons in Mochi per day. It's around 30 words per day, and multiplied by 30 days, it's like 900 words per month, or even 1,000 if you're pretty diligent. Some fun facts, there are 50,000 kanji in total, but only 2,000 Joyo kanji is really needed in daily life. To pass the N5 exam, you only need 103 kanji. To pass the N2 exam, you need 1,000. So even if it seems like a lot, if you just take 15 minutes per day, every day, to just, learn new vocab and review them, you'll be surprised by your own progress after a few months or a couple years. So those are 5 tips I can share with you guys today. Do comment below about what other fun ways you do to learn Japanese. And give this video a like if you enjoyed it so more people can see this video. I wish you all a fun and long-lasting experience in learning Japanese. Ja, mata ne! See you in the next video. Bye bye!